Namaste. Recently there was a query whether listening to others can make us sick or depressed, and there was also a counseling session where one person asked me whether listening to other people's illnesses about their diseases can make us sick. Both are almost similar, so I thought this video will answer both these questions. Now, when we listen to others, what happens? Let us just look at it. First of all, let me give you the example of this young gentleman who came for counseling. When he first started talking to me, he said, I have a very big fear in my mind. Every now and then I get this fear that I might fall sick, I might get some disease, something might happen to me. And I asked him, why do you have this fear? When did it start? So something should have triggered it, some incident or something. So when I asked him this question, he said some 3-4 years back, he became very sick. He had some problem, health issue, and he was admitted in the hospital and treated for it, and finally he became all right. So once he recovered, he said he came back home. But at that point of time when he was in the hospital struggling to become all right, he said there was such a big fear in my mind that something may go wrong with me, that fear somewhere, I think it stayed within me, he said. And after he recovered, he came back home. He had taken leave from office, and once he was completely all right, he went back to work. So he said, I went back and I was perfectly okay, I was able to do my work. But then he said, every now and then someone used to come and talk to me, this is what he said, and they would tell me about their ailment, that this is wrong, that is wrong. I went and saw this doctor, then I did the blood test, this is the report which came, so doctor gave me this medicine, now I have to do this, do that. So all the details they generally tell. So he said, I also listen with a lot of interest. I don't know why I do that, but I just listen like that. And once I've listened to them fully and absorbed all the details, he says, very quickly I start feeling as if I have got the disease. So my mind becomes again experiences that fear, and I don't know what to do. 2 or 3 days I try to put up with it. I take some medicines by myself, but nothing happens. It doesn't go at all. Then I go and see the doctor. The doctor, after checking me, he says nothing is wrong with you. You are perfectly all right. Physically there's nothing wrong, but your mind probably something is wrong. So he says this has been happening on and off for the past almost 2 years, 1.5 2 years. So he says, I want to get rid of this somehow. What do I do? Then I told him that probably listening to people, listening the way he was listening with a lot of involvement, that is the problem. See, listening to people or to their problems is not always wrong, and it is not something which we can avoid. You know, most of the time it is somebody known to us, maybe a colleague, maybe a family member, maybe a relative, somebody who wants to just share their difficulties with you. They may want to talk to you, and we can't simply say no, I don't want to talk to you, because after listening to this video you will definitely understand that it can affect you. But then you cannot be rude and say no, I don't want to listen to your problems. We can never do that to anybody. So that way what happens is, often when someone wants to talk to us, they end up talking about their illness. We have to listen to it. But then if you listen to it also, it should not affect you. How do you do that? Now the same thing with not only health problems, it can be any other problem. Somebody may talk to you about their financial problems, about some relationship problem, anything. Everything can go inside and affect us, because these are all inputs which are going inside. We must understand that. So if you do not want to get too much affected by all this, then how do we manage? What do we do? There is a very simple way of looking at it. You listen to people, but listen with a little bit of detachment. What does that mean? It's like supposing a child goes to school and comes back, and the child tells you that, see, teacher said this boy hit me, that girl did this, she scolded me, something like that. What do we do as a parent? We just look at the child and say, okay, and then what did you do? That is the question we ask. So we don't absolutely get involved in what the child says and immediately, oh, he hit you, your teacher said like this. Of course, some parents may do it, but generally we understand that, okay, these things will happen in school. But what did our child do to make all these things happen? That also we inquire. So we keep ourselves detached, we try to look at the whole picture, and that is how it should be with everything. So when someone talks to you about their problems in life, listen to them. You can empathize also for a little while, or if they talk about their health problems also, listen to them, listen to the details. But as soon as you can, try to steer them away from the details of the past, whatever has already happened, and try to make them move towards the future. Okay, you went to the doctor, you had this blood test done, you had this scan taken, you did this MRI, you did this, okay fine, all that is fine. Now what is your action plan? See, the moment you start talking about action plan, the mind becomes more hopeful. The mind is willing to think about the future and the mind will start planning. But the more you talk about the details of the past, the more depressed you get and the more negative energy affects you. So that is why, whether it is problems of the life or health problems, let them tell you some details, listen to them with empathy, and then slowly start talking about the action plan. Now what are you going to do? What do you think is the best thing to do? If you have any ideas, you can share them. Otherwise, make them think. That is the best thing you can do for anybody. Make them think in a positive manner. If you have options, you can tell them, maybe you can do this, maybe you can do that, 2 or 3 options, and let them think about each option. That would be a much better way of dealing with it. So that way, whenever you have to listen to somebody pouring out their problems to you, whether it is health problems or financial or relationship or generally anything that is, negative, it brings negative energy, listen to them, but be a little bit detached. Learn to do that, and that will make sure that you empathize with them, you are kind to them, you show that you are caring, you talk to them, you develop a good relationship. At the same time, you don't pick up all that negativity, you don't absorb all that negativity, and you do not get sick or you do not become negative. So keep that in mind whenever you have to listen to somebody's woes. Do listen to them, but you need not get affected all the time.